You may have just moved abroad, or you may be considering a move. Regardless, almost everyone would agree that getting health insurance is a smart move. With the cost of medical care skyrocketing around the world and faced with immense costs of repatriation in the event of a serious accident or illness, health insurance is a necessity. Today on the Canadian Expat, we ask about the costs of purchasing global health insurance. In order to get some answers to insurance questions that we often get asked, who better to ask than David Tompkins of Expat Financial, a division of TFG Global Insurance Solutions Limited, which is a sponsor of the Canadian Expat. David, welcome to the Canadian Expat.
Well, thank you for having me. It's great.
So, just how pricey can expat insurance be?
Well, it definitely varies depending on your age, where you're residing in the world, your health status, citizenship, the options chosen, the level of coverage, quite a number of factors, including just how good the global insurance company that you're dealing with is.
So you said there's a difference between countries that you might be going to. Mm-hmm. How big of a difference is there between, say, Japan or Saudi Arabia or the United States?
Well, it might not be a huge difference between like one country in Asia to the next. Or even so much to Europe. I mean, generally though, people often think that in Asia that the cost of medical must be inexpensive, say in a place like China or Singapore, but actually the opposite is true. The cost of private medical care, which is what most expats are going to be obtaining when they're living in a country like that, is quite expensive. It's almost approaching the cost or exceeding the cost that you would find in the United States. So definitely, whenever you get a quote online via our website, Expat Financial, a big determinant will be your citizenship and the country you're going to. So the rate will differ a bit from one to the other, but definitely if you're going to a country where medical treatment is expensive, such as the United States, then your cost is going to be quite a bit higher. It's definitely, especially in the United States.
Is there a difference if you're applying while you're still in Canada or if you're applying while you're abroad?
No, there's no difference in cost at all. If you buy the insurance or apply before you go or after you have relocated abroad.
What about your health status? How can that affect your premiums?
That's a very good question. One of the biggest determinants, which I should definitely mention, is your medical history. So when you're getting a quote and you start going through the application process offline or online via Expat Financial, the insurer will ask a bunch of medical questions, and your medical history will definitely be a huge determinant on the premiums that they charge. So generally what will happen is that if it's a very, clean application, there's not a lot of yeses to the medical questions, it could be approved right away. Or they're going to ask your doctor for additional information or you to supply more information. So they will usually come back with, yes, we'll cover you, no questions asked, or they will cover you with an exclusion on a pre-existing condition, or they may cover the pre-existing condition, or sometimes someone will be uninsurable for a particular reason. It could be occupation, again, or it could be the health status.
So if somebody has to submit a report from a medical professional, can that be difficult if they're in another country, or does that have to be done in Canada?
No, it could be done abroad. It could be done with a doctor that you have, that you deal with overseas, or you could ask the doctor to send the medical report to yourself and you could submit it to the insurer. More often than not, it's usually they're able to make a determination without going to a doctor.
So how can someone actively reduce the cost of their insurance?
Well, there's a couple of methods. One is to increase their deductible that the insurer is charged. So the bigger the deductible, the lower the premium. And the deductible is essentially, best way to think about it is what you pay before the insurer starts to pay for a particular claim. And deductibles are generally per person, per calendar, or per policy year. Another method is to exclude treatment in the United States. So if you're living in a country that is relatively close to the United States, you probably will want to include coverage in the United States, but if you do exclude medical treatment in the United States, then that'll definitely reduce your premium. You can still be covered there when you're traveling for short periods, but you won't be able to go there to seek medical treatment. Another way, an easy way actually, is to pay your premium annually versus monthly or quarterly. The difference in cost can be, you can save almost 10% if you switch from paying monthly to paying annually.
That can be, I would imagine, a significant amount depending on sort of course, the size of the premium, but
Another method is sometimes people, if they're living in maybe the developed world where outpatient care is relatively inexpensive, they will choose to just cover themselves in a hospital setting and also include an evacuation option. And that can reduce your costs dramatically if you exclude outpatient treatment, which is basically the services that you would get outside a hospital setting, like prescriptions, going to see a doctor for checkup, specialist visits, physio, that type of thing.
Once again, thank you very much for joining us, David. If you have any other questions or are considering the need for expat health insurance, please reach out to David via expatfinancial.com. TFG is the largest independent broker for expatriate insurance in Canada, and I'm sure that they would be more than happy to help out. We've put a link to Expat Financial in the description below. Until next time.